Andrew McCabe is giving an interview for 60 Minutes. Now, he's giving an interview...
promotional tour.
Yes, exactly. He's promoting his book.
And he's got to let you know how much of a noble knight he is. Not only did he give service to the country, but now he's going to let them know how important the FBI is.
Well, that's right. And it really is amazing. I remember thinking this with James Comey's book and his book tour.
Oh, that
like
self-righteous prick.
Oh my God, is he self-righteous? Like they make him out like he, but he was supposed to be this country first and service first, and then you just hear the petty bragging and talking about himself. That's the funny thing about Trump, is that Trump is the most self-centered, not at all, the most self-centered, petty human being on the planet. But then you just kind of realize they're all that. Like, he's just more naked with it, but they're all exactly the same. It reminds me of just one of the greatest moments was when Obama was giving that speech, was like 6 months ago or something like that, and Donald Trump was bragging about the economy, and Donald Trump and President Obama is giving the speech, and he's like, I hear Donald Trump bragging about this economy. That was us. We did that. And you're like, oh, so you're just the same type of petty? By the way, neither of you did anything. You didn't do anything. The government can only hurt the economy. You didn't do shit. Did you start a business? Did you create anything of any value? Did you do anything? No. How the fuck are you to take credit for any of it? But whatever. I mean, okay, if you cut taxes and regulation, I can get you saying, hey, we created an environment. But anyway, so Andrew McCabe, he's giving an interview for 60 Minutes. And the interview, the full interview hasn't aired yet. It's going to air on Sunday. But they played a preview of it last night, Thursday. And some of the transcript has come out. And this actually is real news. And it helps us really put the picture together of what exactly happened here. So as I've said for a while, I'm not quite ready for the video. We're going to wait a second. So as I've said for a while, there is what you have going on and the most interesting dynamic with Trump. And this is where even I know a lot of like liberty-leaning people and some ANCAPs and stuff like that have been critical of me for being too, they say I'm not hard enough on Trump, or some people even call me a Trump supporter, which, I think is fairly absurd, seeing as how I've never been a Trump supporter a day in my life. But it's like, I understand one of the, I think one of the worst qualities of ANCAPs is when they just kind of feel like, well, I got this thing figured out. I'm above this whole system, so I don't need to roll up my sleeves and get involved with what's actually going on in these two sides, because the answer is always non-aggression and private property and all this. And it's like, while I agree with that in theory, let's talk about real life and what's actually going on. That's always been my attitude. It's like, that's why I like politics. That's why I like talking about politics. That's why I've never gotten into this kind of like the agorism or the idea of these people who will sometimes be like, well, we hate politics, so let's not even pay attention to that. It's like, oh, well, okay, it's still there. Whether you pay attention to it or not, it's still happening. So it's the greatest evil in the world. So let's break down what's going on. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump is a great president. I don't even think by any measure he's a successful president. Certainly not by any of his own measures. However, what you have here is a very unique situation. All right? Here's the unique situation. You have a president of the United States who is opposed by the deep state. Now, this has not happened before in my lifetime. The last time there was this type of situation was probably Richard Nixon, maybe John F. Kennedy. These are the last time that you actually had a deep state who opposed the president. I mean, Kennedy was a very clear example where like the CIA, it's not like, a conspiracy theory, like Kennedy fired the head of the CIA after the Bay of Pigs. And then that guy fired Kennedy, if you know what I mean. But he said he was going to fucking break the CIA into 1,000 pieces. I mean, he was really like, I'm taking on the deep state. And I don't know if you're keeping score, but he did not win. Donald Trump has been opposed by the establishment of the Republicans, the establishment of the Democrats, and very interesting to me, the deep state. And I've said for a while, this thing here is an attempted coup. That's what we're living through. Now, that's a big fucking story. So McCabe, now just because I know there's a lot of players here and it gets confusing a little bit for people. So Andrew McCabe was an FBI agent, a very high-ranking FBI agent. After James Comey was fired, he became the acting director of the FBI, okay? So he was, at this time, after Comey was fired, the number 2 guy in the Justice Department, the head of the FBI. Very powerful position. Now, before that, he was also the guy who oversaw the Hillary Clinton investigation and the Russian interference investigation. So this is a guy right in the middle of things. He's also got serious ties to the Clintons. Like, I think his wife got a bunch of money from, who's Terry McCullough or something like that. You could Google it and figure it all out. There's serious ties. He's all, you know, involved in this whole swamp mess. So he takes over the FBI after Comey's fired. Now let's just remind everybody what happens here with James Comey, because this, to me, by the way, I said this just because I've read a lot about the history of the FBI and I know how they fucking work. So I called this right away. And then I read a couple of different ex-CIA people who have left and basically confirmed what I was saying. So I was glad to hear that, but James Comey absolutely tried to blackmail Donald Trump. That's why he got fired. It's not that he fucking, you know, whatever it was, like he wanted to, you know, shut down a Russia investigation or something like that. In fact, even James Comey admitted that Donald Trump wanted the Russia investigation. He wanted it because Donald Trump, when they first came to him and they were like, we think your campaign has been tied up with Russia and they've been compromised, Trump, the natural reaction of an innocent person in that regard, which he is innocent in that sense, Trump's reaction was, well, figure it out. Let me know who on my campaign is fucking going behind my back. I'd like to know. So he encouraged them. And even James Comey admitted this.